Any items from the public? With that, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Mr. Vice President, I move we approve the agenda if there's no modifications for Thursday, November the 21st.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Purchase order? Any questions?
It's a big one.
It's a big one.
Do we get reimbursed for all the people?
Yes. You'll notice your purchase order log this week's 123 pages, and it's primarily paying polling places and poll workers. We will submit a bill to the Board of Education.
Do we get any profit out of that?
No, it's one of those break-even deals. But yes, we will get reimbursed for
Just the poll workers?
all of our employees, supplies, materials.
How much does that go to?
County clerk's office will put that together and we'll submit it to the school board. But yes, they will reimburse us for all of our costs.
I know they got their levies, so they'd be willing to pay that.
That's an interesting topic that's brought up many times on whether or not it should be a separate election.
Yeah.
And
Well, Larry Kump told me he was going to introduce legislation to prevent that in the future.
good luck with that one.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
worth a shot.
What's that?
It's worth a shot.
Yeah. We have 6 internal budget revisions.
Yes, sir. I have 6 internal budget revisions for the council's consideration, all submitted by Gary Wine, the Deputy County Administrator. The first is Department 428, Information Technologies. Mr. Wine's requesting that he be allowed to reduce line 341 Supplies and Materials by $15,000. Current unencumbered fund balance is $167,688.28 with 55.12% spent to date. An increased line 211 telephone, which currently has by $15,000, which currently has an unencumbered fund balance of $18,481.80. As the council's aware, as we do internal budget revisions, in fact, as we do state budget revisions, in fact, we have one today, which is a rather large one. We put the money collected for IT services into supplies and materials. For example, today I think there's about $150,000 that we're going to be putting into 341. And then that money is dispersed across the other operating expenses as needed. So that's why there seems to be such a large unencumbered fund balance in supplies and materials.
How come the phone thing is $18,000 under?
We pay all of the county cell phones, which we have several hundred out of that budget. So we continuously have to replenish that based on cell phone bills.
I would think you'd have an idea what your cell phone bills would be in the budget cycle.
We do, but we add cell phones and we've changed carriers. So the next request from 428, Information Technology. Again, Mr. Wine's requesting that he reduce line 341 Supplies and Materials by $30,000 and increase capital outlay by $30,000. The next request is Department 717, which is the Central Garage. Mr. Wine's requesting that they be allowed to reduce line 217 Maintenance and Repair Auto by $5,000. That account currently has an unencumbered fund balance of $97,166.08 with 18.67% spent to date. An increased line 226 Insurance and Bonds by $5,000. That currently has a deficit balance of $3,265.50. Again, if the council will recall, we set up 217 Maintenance and Repair Auto. That's our day-to-day preventive maintenance, oil changes, tires, things like that.
line 226 insurance and bonds. We actually use that account to track what we're paying for repairs to automobiles due to auto accidents. And part of that is that the $1,000 deductible that we have for claims. So we periodically have to replenish that account.
So does the money from the accidents go back into
It
that?
does, yep, it goes, we actually deposit that through state budget revision into line 226 insurance and bonds.
Right, because that wasn't a budgeted line item, was it?
It is the insurance and bonds? No.
That's what I thought.
Nope.
Okay.
Mr. Davis, sometime along the line before we get into budget time, I'd like to look at those numbers from several years back, and I think we ought to have a discussion with those involved
Numbers
on the insurance bonds,
On-
particularly the number of accidents.
on claims?
Yes.
I could give you actually can give you a printout. The client portal from West Virginia Corp allows me to go in and pull up the claims by category. And I can give you a historical perspective, and then we can actually filter it so that we can break it up by department. So I will provide that
Because
to
I
the full
think if we're
council.
having, because I look at the number of accidents that we've had and going back several years that I'm aware of, I think some people need to get some additional training, excuse me.
I can take care of that for you. Yes, ma'am.
Are we doing better on that though? I
We
mean, I thought.
we
Till this
are.
week.
Workers' comp claims are more favorable.
Right.
And even the frequency of auto claims probably is down a little bit, but certainly the severity of the claims is down. I mean, we only have one vehicle that actually was totaled this year. It's one of our older animal control vehicles, which Mr. Wine has talked to you about. We're in the process of replacing that vehicle, but most of the most recent vehicle claims that we've had have been from the sheriff's department, and unfortunately it's with our newer vehicles, our Durangos and our Chargers.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed like a couple of years back we had like 3 of them in 1 year or
It's
something
not
from one
as-
person.
It's, in fact, knock on wood, we haven't even had the deer strikes that we've had in
Right.
years past so far. So
There's plenty of them out there.
there are, if you go along the interstate, you'll see dead deer everywhere.
And we've got a car in the repair shop right now because of what my wife ran into.
The next request,
I was just gonna say, since you have to have a license from the state to hunt deer, don't the state own the deer? So can we go back on them for the claims?
That's a good idea.
I can give you a list if you'd like to work on that.
That's another thing we can put on it.
Fine. Next is Department 428 Information Technology. Mr. Wine's requesting that he be allowed to reduce line 222 dues and subscriptions by $5,000. Current unencumbered fund balance is $35,119 with 1.29% spent to date. And increase line 214 travel by $5,000. That line item currently has a deficit balance of $1,323.24. We have sent a number of our employees, including Mr. Wine, to some professional education, particularly in the area of cybersecurity and cyber threats. The next request, again, has to do with the ongoing training. Mr. Wine is requesting under Department 428, Information Technology, again, that he be allowed to decrease line 341, supplies and materials by $5,000, and increase line 221, training and education by $5,000. That account currently has a deficit balance of $157. And finally, Department 428, Information Technology, Mr. Wine's requesting that he be allowed to reduce line 341, supplies and materials by $20,000, and increase line 223, professional services by $20,000. And that's needed to properly fund the budget. We currently have a contractual employee that we pay out of professional services, line 223, that we bill her time to the Stormwater Management District, who's helping them get their GPS locating of all of the stormwater management ponds and things like that's under control. So we pay the contractual employee out professional services, and then we bill the stormwater district for those services.
Okay, thank you, Al. Change in status. We have a new recommendation received from the Honorable Katie Delaghetti, prosecuting attorney for Kevin Miller as investigator with an annual salary of $63,000 effective December 2nd, 2019. We have a new hire recommendation received from Tim Saya, Director of Community Corrections for Crystal Peterson as a part-time peer recovery coach with an hourly rate of $14.40 effective November 25th, 2019. We have a new hire recommendation received from the Honorable Larry Hess, Assessor for Tara Locke as a clerk with an annual salary of $24,000 effective November 18, 2019. Letter of resignation received from the Recovery Resource Center for Nathan Farley effective November 14, 2019. Letter of resignation received from the Day Report Center for Charlotte Zeiss effective November 18, 2019. It looks like the November 7th, 2019 Berkeley County Council meeting minutes, everyone was present. Move on to council calendar. Looks like tomorrow we have at 9 a.m. Board of Canvas. Where are we holding that at? Is that downstairs or up here?
Downstairs on the first floor.
Okay. Is everybody going to be there?
Be there.
Mhm.
I may not be there. If you guys are all going to be there, I may not. If somebody has a problem, they'll definitely give me a call and I'll make sure I can make it.
Who would you like to,
What's that?
who would you like to give the gavel to?
Do you want Elaine to handle it?
Yeah, she can do that.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Small will also be absent tomorrow. He's ill
Oh.
and has already notified us that he will not be in attendance tomorrow.
Okay, on the 28th and 29th of next week's offices will be closed in observance of Thanksgiving. Wasn't it the governor added that extra day on there?
No, sir, the 29th is actually established, or the day after Thanksgiving is off as part of the normal calendar.
Was that Christmas that he did that too? The day
Typically,
before?
the day before Christmas and the day before New Year's, on the calendar that's approved by the state as half days. In the past, the governor has made those full days, sometimes, not always.
How did we put that down this year on our
It's a
approval?
half day.
As a half day? Okay.
Yeah, we will close at 1 o'clock those 2 days unless the council decides otherwise.
Thank you. Let's see, board and commission calendars. Tomorrow, we have at 9:30 a.m. we have the home consortium. The 25th, we have 1 p.m. historic landmarks. At 5 p.m. we have water district. Let's see, we're closed on the 28th, 29th. On 6 p.m. on the 2nd, we'll have a planning commission. On the 3rd, at 5 p.m., we'll have sewer district. At 6 p.m., stormwater district. On the 4th, at 5 p.m., we'll have ambulance authority. On the 5th, we'll have library board. That should take us back into our schedule, right? Let's see, canceled check request, county clerk's finance office, Do we need any discussion on that? Okay, that, brings us to the end of the consent agenda. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. That brings us to Mr. Hess. Good morning.
Good morning, everybody. I got a couple here we had to correct last week. Have one office error, personal property, billing we had to correct for Haley Sparks. They had, we billed the wrong vehicle, and we had to correct it for $202.15.
I'll entertain a motion to approve the,
Officer,
office error.
so move.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you.
I do have one for the real estate office error. We found last week for William Berkeley. His disabled homestead was removed in error. We had to correct it. $1,207.44.
1,207.44, real estate tax exoneration for office error.
Move to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, you have a final divorce?
I do have one divorce. We had to separate billing for Mr. and Mrs. Sowers. They had a couple vehicles with a total assessed value of $12,555. We just separated the bills, and he got one of the vehicles, she got one of the vehicles. And so we just need your approval on that. That's the only thing I have.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. President, I move to accept the apportionment of assessment of taxes for final divorce order.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, Mr. Hess.
Thank you.
Have a good day. Board and meeting reports. Mr. Barnhart.
Well, thank you. I had a Board of Health meeting in beautiful scenic downtown Berkeley Springs on Monday. It was mostly staff reports. It was an interesting meeting. I think they gave 1,500 flu shots so far this year, but they're about out of flu vaccine. So if you need a flu shot, hustle on over because they'll be out of it. And Angie gave an interesting report on the Do No Harm program, and I think she made another trip to Harvard. And that was pretty much it. Harvard.
Well, thank you, Jim. Elaine?
It's been a busy week, but a lot of extraneous efforts with conversations with Matthews Bronze and the number of photos they want and how they want the stuff. So we're on Plan B right at the moment, trying to come up with an assessed cost of the Doughboy. We had a senior services meeting yesterday at 3 o'clock, and everything is looking absolutely wonderful over there. And right now, they're waiting to claim, there's about a $7,000 that they're holding to the final inspection and warranties. And because they didn't cover when they were, the people that took the roof off to start with was not the people that put the roof on. There was some damage done on floor tiles, and there's supposed to be 3 cases of floor tile ceiling tile coming in to replace that. So everything is on hold to the final walkthrough, but it's absolutely phenomenal.
I was out there last week to get the roof done. They were up there finishing up the roof.
Everything is just looking, in fact, we had one gentleman that came through, was just doing a tour, somebody was bringing him through, and he said, I can't believe how nice this building looks. And of course, it was right after we finished everything. So it was really great. And Richard Dennis works for the Attorney General's office, and he goes to 8 different senior services all over the Eastern Panhandle in the 8 counties. And he said that ours, as far as size and direction and efforts and condition, is phenomenal when you start looking, because so many of the counties are so poor. it's a lot of people are volunteering just to maintain and trying to keep the facility up. So we're very fortunate to have such a nice building. The second meeting I was at, Parks and Recreation. Of course, there's a lot of things that went on there, not including the final thing that was done is Steve Catlett is stepping down as far as executive director, retiring on the permanent run of things, and they're hoping to get someone in the place, and he is going to stay on as facilities director to help recondition somebody into that position so they can understand all the parameters, because between the sports and the teams and the games and the things that go on, fundraising, et cetera, that's over here, and then trying to keep the maintenance up on the other side. So that should be, as of April, he's supposed to be going into that particular position, at least for a while. He makes me feel really old because he's 66 and I had him as a student when he was a junior.
Hey, I've known Steve since he
Yes,
was tall, and he's
you're a little taller now,
Six-
just a little taller.
6'4" now.
Yes. Going back to all the things that went on at the rec board, the update on the Randy Smith Center, they are 60,000 short on the bleachers, but everything else has been covered. They hope to have an open house, ribbon cutting, in the spring. Goldie Gibbons is coming right along. They're just about finished, and the family wants a ribbon cutting in April. Speaking of ribbon cuttings, when we get everything finalized and the final walk through the senior services, they want a ribbon cutting with the county and them in the spring, after we get through all the final walkthroughs and things. So, going on to the cell tower, there's not been any movement on that. And they're replacing one of the big features at War Memorial Pool, and the tennis courts are coming right along. They look absolutely phenomenal. The biggest problem they had is Oak Street Park, the restrooms, and they're trying to work it out with the grant. And if they can't do it, they're gonna have to reapply in 2021 because they didn't have near enough money to cover the restroom that they wanted. They're discussed human resource solution. There is a company that works with the state recreational boards and counties to provide, under contract, recommendations for human resources, where we talk about handbooks and things like that, and meeting the criteria so that you're never making a mistake with all the different things with the state, the federal government, with hiring and all, not just hiring, you've got your taxes and all these things that are due. So they voted to bring those folks in to give them an exploratory to see what all that they need, because staff-wise, they don't have someone that does that, and you can't know everything, and you just don't want to set yourself up for liability. So we're supposed to be meeting with those in probably the first of the year in January. Buzz Poland had some heart work done in the last 2 weeks, and he's doing really well. So
Had some heart work done?
He had a heart attack.
Yeah, he had a stent.
Did he? I didn't know he had a heart attack. I seen him yesterday.
Yeah, he's doing really well.
Yeah,
He's
I
doing
didn't-
really well.
I saw him on Friday, at the, NFP, or in a day up at the,
Huh.
new hotel.
Yeah.
And went to shake his hand, he says, "Don't shake it too hard," he says, "it just had a stent put in," so. But yeah, he seems to be on the mend, so.
And one final thing, President Pro Tem, they had put in a community pass, different computer program with the, so that you could use your credit cards to pay the bills. And just since January, they've saved $50,000 by getting a different program. So that's well programmed, put into other programs that we do need. So they are out there exploring all the time, trying to be efficient.
Good.
So thank you.
Tim?
There was a planning commission meeting. I was unable to attend. I had a recital or a play to go to that my granddaughter was in, so it kind of superseded the planning.
You weren't in it.
No, they didn't want me in it.
Okay.
She was the light
And
of my eye.
What was the play?
It was called Fish Tales, and they had it out at the Airborne Church at her school that she goes to, and it was really good. But it was just like for the.
A lot of twists in the plot, and
It was just good. Yeah, it was cute. It was very cute.
Okay.
A lot of hard work went into it.
I did have a criminal justice board, meeting yesterday, and, Reverend Walker was kind enough to, continue to be the chair. He got nominated real quickly. And
He
thank
was-
you for doing that.
He was actually there and they nominated him. Usually if you're not there, you're the one that gets put in the position, so
Well, the vice chair got that.
the vice chair, okay.
Yeah, he wasn't there. He got nominated, and it all passed. So
I did, okay.
we'll let him know next month, or a couple months from now, actually. Yeah. Airport Authority. I did have an Airport Authority meeting. We have a lot of things on the horizon that we're looking at. We have a company called 6A that's still working to market some of the property, a couple pieces of the property out there. We're hoping to renew that to with some modifications to it in the near future, and some other things that interest in the airport. The guys out there are doing a fantastic job. Glad that frost came, killed the grass, so the grass isn't growing. We don't have to mow that anymore. But hopefully some big things will be coming in the near future for the airport that we can talk about. Other than that, I believe that's it. Board and commission, let's see, board and commission vacancies.
I do, I'm sorry. go ahead.
I have several. I'd like to recommend William Burnett to Berkeley Senior Services for his second 3-year term, effective January 1st.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
The next one is for Historic Landmark Commission. I'd like to appoint Susan Crow for a full 3-year term starting December 4th.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay,
And Kevin Saring, I'd like to appoint him to the Historical Landmark for a full 3-year term and starting December 4th.
Second.
all right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Anything else, Elaine?
The last thing, I'd like to recommend Raleigh Hamilton to come in for an interview for the Berkeley County Senior Services.
Okay,
And we interviewed a gentleman a couple weeks ago, Derek Smith, for the Planning Commission. I'd like to make a motion to appoint him to the Planning Commission.
do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, looks like we have a new application received from a Jennifer, Shentrop, close,
Yes, sir.
for the, LEPC board. I guess we should probably go ahead and set something up with that. Anything else, guys? No? I guess we'll put Elaine up with the honorary council person.
Ms. Emerson, would you like to step right up here and tell these folks where you go to school and any activities you like or any plans that you have?
So I go to Martinsburg South Middle School. I'm in 8th grade. I enjoy playing piano, and when I grow up, I'd really like to be an elementary teacher.
Okay, we're always short of teachers. So I'm gonna turn this way and you raise your right hand. Yeah, that one. Your other right.
Your other
I state your name. Do swear and affirm that I will uphold the Constitution of the United States and West Virginia. I'll work hard to fulfill the responsibilities of honorary councilperson, to which I have been appointed. So help me God.
Okay, I guess that brings us to our 911 director, Mary Cackley. A resolution for first responders. Good morning, Mary. Doing great.
Mary, you and I've met to talk about this resolution. Can you give the council a little bit of background about what brought us here and why it's necessary?
Sure. For many years, 911 telecommunicators have been classified as nothing more than clerical people, that they do nothing more than answer phones and talk on the radio, and that is the extent of their job. That may have been true over 30 years ago, but now with more training, more certifications, and the level of responsibility, there are many on the federal level that are trying to get that classification changed for the first responders, that we be included in that group instead of the clerical secretary and receptionist. West Virginia is kind of taking the lead and thinking that they will be supporting that federal resolution or proposal by showing their support. So many counties across the state have already adopted this resolution that formally recognizes all 911 emergency telecommunicators as true first responders, which I believe that we are. Now, in today's world, we provide pre-arrival instructions to people that are on the phone so that they get the most expeditious care that they can until the field responders arrive on the scene. So I'm hopeful that today, I know that many of you all, and really the unanimously here, have always supported us in that, but now we're asking you to make it a little bit more formal and pass the resolution that recognizes all 911 telecommunicators in Berkeley County as being true first responders.
So what kind of, do they actually explain steps to do some resuscitation, for heart? Do they actually, if they're
Yes.
bleeding, they tell them how to stop the bleeding?
Yes, sir.
Or slow it down or that type of thing?
Exactly. We, here in Berkeley County, over the years have provided life-saving techniques by way of CPR, and have had what I would consider many saves in the field until the field responders actually arrived on the scene. I've birthed 3 babies myself.
Right.
By phone, and we've done many more than that. So, we can give those pre-arrivals. We're telling people now when there is fire present. Before, I could only tell somebody, get out of the house. Well, now it's get out of the house, try to go to another place and call us back and give us additional information. Or if we have a burn patient, how to take care of that patient and get the flames out until the responder actually arrives on the scene.
Good.
It really doesn't change the duties and responsibilities of our 911 operators. What it could do in the future, particularly if on the federal level, they would recognize telecommunicators as first responders from a perspective of applying for grants. It may assist us in being eligible for more Department of Justice grants under this designation. So it could directly benefit us in the future.
Well, and they generally are the first responder by
Yes, sir.
phone. So it makes total sense to me. I think it does.
Well, and again, I really believe that all of you have always viewed us as that. It's now just making it something more official.
Right.
You can't get more official than this, than you can.
Okay. Are we going to read a resolution?
Want to read them
Me?
Yeah.
Resolution for first responders. Whereas 911 public safety telecommunicators serve 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, just the same as firefighters, law enforcement officers, and emergency medical service workers. And whereas 911 public safety telecommunicators make the same sacrifices in their personal lives as firefighters, law enforcement officers, and emergency medical service workers by leaving their families, friends, and the safety of their surroundings to handle the emergency 911 calls that save the lives, protect the property, and ensure the safety of our community during weather, chemical, and other emergency events. And whereas 911 public safety telecommunicators heroically answer 911 emergency calls around the clock, whereby they give medical guidance, instruct callers on staying safe in difficult situations, and help callers to safety during disasters, all while promptly dispatching field responders to said emergency situations for the callers. And whereas 911 public safety telecommunicators must handle the stress of answering over 500,000 calls each year, one call after another daily, often being the hidden voice on the other end of the call as citizens experience the worst day of their lives. They hear the cries of devastation, listen to the screams for help, and are the support as citizens cope with the loss of a loved one. Public safety telecommunicators handle all of this at the very same time that they keep their fellow emergency responders in the field safe. And whereas, to honor the men and women who serve in this crucial position, we recognize these individuals throughout Berkeley County by proclaiming them true first responders. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Berkeley County Council does hereby proclaim public safety telecommunicators as first responders.
Thank you. I think that's very important that it mentions the drama or trauma that they have to deal with on a daily basis and experience the same type of situations, be it not visual, but on the phone of the firefighters and the ambulance EMTs as well. So
That's very true, Councilman Gillier. For us, it's even a little bit more difficult because we have to totally rely on the person that's calling us to give us the information. And then you kind of visualize that in your head. And really the mental stress, which is a real part of our job, is greater because we can't do hands-on. We have to become actors and actresses and find ways to get the information out of callers that sometimes are hysterical, sometimes they're yelling and screaming. There's a lot of background noise going on when you're trying to get them to focus on the information you need to be able to help that person until help arrives in the field. So you're exactly right. It's just a different type of stress. It's more mental than it is the physical stress.
right, and we said it many times about how great a job that your staff does to help out in all these situations and help protect the people in Berkeley County. So
Berkeley County has an outstanding staff of people. We've been blessed for many, many years. And yes, this is a tough job. Yes, there is turnover because in some instances, people cannot balance the necessary management that they need to balance the personal with their professional and the professional needs that we require. But certainly we have an outstanding staff.
thank you.
think a good part of them are behind you.
Yeah,
Oh.
they're filtering.
They
it.
filtered in while you were talking.
I think they did. When I got up here, there were two. They multiplied.
Sneaking in behind you.
You were able to give birth again.
There you go.
All right, so
They
I'll
are my
entertain
kids.
I'll entertain a motion.
I move to adopt the proclamation for first responders
Second.
resolution.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you. I know that this is a little bit unannounced, but while they're all here, we have 6 new employees. We thought this would be a good time to let you meet them and greet them to the county.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Don't be shy.
Don't be shy.
There's only 6
Let
of
me
you.
tell you, this class is not.
There's one brave fella there.
Yeah, we tell him that every day.
Good morning.
Good morning, Paul.
Again, as Mary said, these are the 6 newly hired employees that are all doing very well in class. Basically have been presented with a good many maps, still a ways to go. However, they're learning and they're finding out the real deal as far as how big Berkeley County truly is. So I'm going to start with my far right. And there's Crystal Cutlip, Philip Peters, Melanie Colazzo, Anna Hernandez, Tina Brannon, and Gio Moore.
Well, thank you very much for becoming part of the team. Hopefully you guys will have a long tenure in the job, and hopefully be able to do all the things that we've been talking about up here this morning.
So how much longer do they have to go before they have a seat?
The classroom training is anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks. So they definitely will be in the classroom until at least mid-December. I would say end of December.
Actually, they'll be in there a little longer. Once Paula is finished, then I will teach the 40-hour course that's required by state code. And then before they go down on the floor, our CAD supervisor will have them in class for 2 more weeks, introducing the CAD before they actually hit down on the floor for true OJT. And they go down periodically and just kind of sit in and watch, but it probably will be mid-January.
January then.
And when Mary takes over is when we lose most of our people.
Thank you, Alan.
You're welcome.
As we say, thanks for all your support, right?
What can I say?
Would either
Not a
one of
whole
you
lot after that.
like to say something? Anybody? Don't be shy.
Thought you said this bunch wasn't shy.
Well, they'll find out that they'll lose that real quick. Yeah.
Who would you all say is your spokesperson?
Phil,
Come on up, Philip.
Come on up, Philip.
Come on up.
As we say, all
Well,
volunteers.
you're
step
obviously
forward.
outnumbered.
Absolutely. Well, first I'd like to thank you all for approving us and allowing us the opportunity, as well as Mary and Paula. Both are great teachers and instructors of the duties of telecommunicators, emergency telecommunicators. Everyone in my class is excellent. So far, we've had a lot of fun, but it's also, obviously a serious job that we take very seriously, and we look forward to just continuing to add to the legacy that's already been set before us.
and Paula and Mary are the greatest teachers.
Hey, man.
Yeah,
have a
right.
little bit
Do
more
what you're
than
told.
So you just got one more lesson right there.
Just a reminder, we do have probable cause drug testing.
Okay.
Are we taking a picture of the?
Yes,
new-
ma'am.
Yeah.
If you could break and take a picture with the new class, we'll put it on the website.
Okay, we'll do that right now. Okay.
Sammy?
Can we also take one with the resolution?
Yes.
Okay, we ready, Penny? Okay, we're back in session. We're going to skip on over to Alan Davis, County Administrator, with a state budget revision 05 Fund 001.
This is your monthly state budget revision for the month of November, 1 week early because of Thanksgiving. Since we did state budget revision number 4, we've had 29 checks and ACHs collected for a total of $454,024. Just a couple things of note. We continue to get reimbursement under the SAFER grant for the firefighters located at Baker Heights. It took us a little while to get that process worked out, but it seems to be running pretty smoothly right now. The IT department did collect 5 checks totaling $150,930. You'll notice that the biggest check actually came from Central Dispatch. That check was for $140,550, and that was for IT services rendered during fiscal year 2008-2009. That money will be set aside, and we will encumber a total amount of $147,169 in the IT department's budget to pay for the planning and engineering software upgrade that the council's approved. That project is well on the way. We have weekly progress meetings on that, and hope to actually start the implementation of the new processes in early 2020. So it's all good. The lion's share of the disbursement of the total amount of $454,024, I'm recommending that we set aside in your contingency account $254,361. Of course, we'll reimburse Department 711 for firefighter wages that have been expended at Baker Heights, and then place $150,930 in the IT department's budget.
Good. Any questions? Don't everybody speak at once. I guess that means no.
We want to
Huh?
move to approve.
We have a recommendation for an architectural proposal.
Don't we have to
You have
approve
to
the state
approve,
budget first?
Oh, vote. Okay,
Move
yeah.
to approve
Better
the state
vote.
budget revision.
Number 5.
Number 5.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
Now you can move on.
Now I can move on. I plan to. Architectural proposal recommendation.
As
Mr.
the
Davis.
council is aware, we currently have the Berkeley County Day Report Center in the old health department building located at 800 Emmett Rouse Drive. The square footage of that building is about 3,800 square feet, which we have outgrown. We've actually moved some of the IOPs up to this building on an as-needed basis. Mr. Saya will be appearing before you in early December. I'm not sure if it's the 5th or the 12th. I think it's the 12th. And at that time, he will inform the council that because of the number of participants that we have and the number of programs that we're running, that the intent originally was to expand the hours of the Day Report Center to half days on Saturday. Well, that has changed. We will be doing full days on Saturday coming January 1st. So we will be operating the day report center 6 days a week during normal daytime hours, and then 5 evenings a week, Monday through Friday. And unfortunately, still can't keep up with.
So we're over 200 now?
Yes, ma'am. And as you have seen, in fact, I just sent you an article about the regional jail bill for some of the southern counties. As their jail bill continues to increase, we've been able to at least maintain ours, and for the third consecutive year, we're actually starting to see a slight decline in it. So I think that's a direct effort or direct result of the efforts by this council with community corrections in the day report center, and of course the prosecuting attorney's office and adult drug court, juvenile drug court, and all this kind of goes on and on and on. Having said all that, at the direction of the council, this past summer we developed an RFQ for architectural services to develop 520 South Raleigh Street for our new day report center, or for the expansion of our day report center. 520 South Raleigh Street is about 11,633 square feet. So we'll greatly expand the office area for those operations.
Well, what shape's the building in?
It needs a new roof, which we know. The electrical service is good. The fire suppression system is good. The HVAC system will need to be upgraded. The roof will need to be replaced. There is no hazardous material, unlike 510 South Raleigh Street. If you remember, we found asbestos in the tile and in the mastic. That is not present at 520. The walls themselves, the exterior structure is good. So, roof, HVAC system. There's three columns inside that will have to be designed around, but there are no load-bearing walls that need to be removed. So it should not be too bad of a project.
Minimum demo.
Right. On Thursday, August the 15th, the council opened responses to the RFQ that you authorized us to distribute. We received 7 packets. The selection committee, made up of Tracy McCormick, Tim Zaya, Jack Lang, and myself, reviewed the 7 packets. We selected 3 for interview. Crabtree, Rohrball and Associates, Alpha Architects, and Design Concepts from Winchester. All 3 firms we were familiar with because they had worked with the county before. After consideration, we did come back to the council and recommended in early November, actually on November 7th, that the council allow us to negotiate with Crabtree, Rohrball and Associates. We met with Josh Bauer, who is the senior project manager and also one of the principals for Crabtree Rohrball on November 13th. He spent some additional time with Mr. Lang over at 520 South Raleigh Street. As a result of that meeting, they have provided a price proposal, which I've given you the full price proposal, but also summarized the proposal in your read ahead. The proposal for programming, schematic design, design development, construction, development of all construction documents, bidding and construction administration is $159,730, with total construction, we hope, to be done no later than January 2020 if the council decides to move ahead once the plans are in place. Josh actually seems to think that it could be done by, if things move ahead as we hope, that we could have the full project done by the end of next calendar year. So by next year at this time, it could be pretty much done. Just as a point of reference, In 2015, the Fair Board used Alpha and Associates for architectural and engineering services in developing South Berkeley VFD at a cost of $141,960. And earlier this year, the Berkeley County Emergency Ambulance Authority used ZMM Architects at a cost of $131,800. I've discussed this proposal with Council President Copenhaver, and he feels certainly that's this is in alignment with expectations. We know that as we get into the project, there will be some things that we will be doing in-house that's not taken in consideration. For example, all the IT cabling. We'll be taking care of the cabling, the electronics on the doors and things like that. So if the council so chooses, the committee is recommending acceptance of the proposal from Crabtree, Rohrball and Associates in an amount not to exceed $159,730.
And we don't have any other capital projects that we're doing right now other than small things interior.
We do, yes, sir. Yep.
What about the health department?
That once we have this project well underway, then we will go back to CRA and ask them for their proposal for 122 Waverly Court. We want this to be the primary focus
I'm
for
not
now.
disagreeing with you. I'm
Right.
looking ahead.
Yes, sir. If the council so chooses, we're recommending that fees be funded out of coal severance account 002988458, which is the capital outlay account. After we pay the invoice for the site work done for the transit, the transfer station that was just completed actually last week, we have an unencumbered fund balance of $184,028. Also, if the council will remember earlier this year, Norwood wrote the resolution, and I asked the council to adopt the resolution, which you did. That would allow us to recoup any of the funding that we distribute now, that we expend now, for the development of the Crawford building as well as 520 South Raleigh Street from any borrowing, bank qualified borrowing that we may do in the future. So as we move forward, the council may decide that you want to reimburse the $159,730 out of any monies that we borrow.
That reminds me, I forgot to mention that I did have a transit authority meeting, and they talked about their new signs. So they have a plan for signs at all their bus stops now that they're going to be putting out that actually names the bus stop as well as gives a bunch of description, and they're removable signs, so they can modify those and change them. When we were discussing that, we need to come up with what we will call that bus stop at some point, whether it's the county complex or, courthouse or whatever we want to designate that. We should think about that for the future as well. So I think this proposal, this cost for the engineering design, I think is right in line with what we've been seeing. So I personally think it's a fair cost. What's your thoughts?
The architectural design, I mean, that's gonna make the bones of the building to the degree that we need them. So I believe the cost, although expensive, but I think it'll be well worth it.
Well, the other side of the picture is that the work that Crabtree and Associates have done is absolutely phenomenal, and I think we should continue on because we know that that's quality work. We've seen it here.
Anything else?
You need a motion?
I need a motion.
Mr. President, I move to accept the building commissions, or whatever they call themselves, a recommendation for hiring Crabtree, Rohrball and Associates to design 520 South Raleigh Street in the amount of $159,730.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Thank you, Al.
Yes, sir, thank you.
That brings us to a board and commission interview for the Airport Authority, Mr. Ronnie Fitzpatrick. Come on up to the podium there. State your name for the record.
Yep, my name is Ronald James Fitzpatrick.
Tell us a little bit about yourself and why you would have interest in getting involved in the community and helping out at the airport.
Sure. So I originally came from Washington, D.C. Back in 1996, where I attended Shepherd University. I'm a graduate from there, graduated in 2001. I'll tell you one thing, I've only been in this building twice since it was the outlets. Extremely passionate about watching this community develop. That area, of course, is oversaturated. One of the reasons why I did not return back home is that I really enjoy this area and passionate about seeing it grow. After I graduated college, I worked for 7 years with Enterprise Rent-A-Car, where I was an area manager and also a manager of many different offices. Then I continued on, went to 7-Eleven, where I was a business consultant, and my job titles there were basically keeping people profitable. So huge business background. I currently am helping my father-in-law run our insurance agency, where we operate under Fargo Insurance Group. We have 6 offices. 3 of them are within this area, 2 in Berkeley County. And like I said, I'm just extremely passionate about watching this area grow. I know that the airport holds a lot of responsibility, and it's extremely important with keeping in line the space and the land that they have in order to keep us growing. So I have a huge passion for that. I'm a pillar in the community. South Berkeley, I'm also a coach at Musselman High School. I have a passion for basketball. I play basketball at Shepherd. So I try to help develop young kids and things of that nature.
Well, thank you, Ronnie. Jim, got any questions?
Well, why the airport?
Well, learning a little bit about some of the different things that go on in the area. I'm good friends with PJ Orsini, and just him and I talking and learning about some of the ways to help develop this area. He pointed out to me some of the importance of the airport, so that's one of the main reasons.
Have you ever thought about any of the other commissions that we?
I have not a lot of information on them. I've done a little bit of research on the airport because that was one of the ones that we discussed. But at this point,
Roundhouse, Development Authority.
Mm-hmm. Development Authority was one that we also discussed.
Very popular board.
Yeah. Yeah. And also being a member of the Sunrise Rotary, there's a few people in there that I've also talked to and discussed it.
Thank you.
But we're not only looking for members of boards, like the Roundhouse, we're always looking for volunteers. We've got a lot of activities coming up. Are you gonna be available for the meetings for the airport, which is is it still Mondays, Mr.?
It is.
Still on Mondays?
Yes.
Now,
Monday
Mondays
evenings
at
at
7?
6 o'clock, yeah.
Yeah, should not be a problem at all. Occasionally, I will have a few basketball games for about 3 months, but I can always navigate my way around that.
Well, what's the future of Musselman?
State champion. No.
Good
so
answer.
I'm on the. Are we any Musselman grads? No. Okay. So I'm a part of the girls basketball program.
Oh, well,
That's even
So-
better, because I used to coach those.
Oh,
Girls
very
in
nice.
Bentonville.
Very nice. So yeah, we're looking for a much improved season. Last year was one of our best years that we've had over 20 years. So we're really excited, pushing the girls really hard. And my passion is just to help these kids. I use basketball to get my education, and then also it's broadened my horizons and got me out of the Washington D.C. area into this beautiful area that I am now. So I try to push that to the kids as well.
Well, thank you for applying. We're always looking for younger folks, but there's too many of us older folks involved.
Oh, stop it! But you mentioned about volunteering. I don't think I sit down. So I'm extremely passionate about volunteering, helping out. We ran a clinic last Saturday that was completely free. Most of everything that I do involving basketball and other things are completely volunteer and, just trying to help out. So I love that.
If he's part of the Sunrise Rotary Group, he is not slowing down. I'll tell you that. That is a moving group.
Well, and as I said, we got a big Irish festival coming up on March 28th, and we need volunteers
It
to
needs to
help
be the
us.
17th.
Huh?
It needs to be the 17th.
No, it needs to be March 28th.
Okay.
Okay. It has to do with financial.
Okay.
All the groups that are,
On
you know,
the St. Patrick's
for the
Day.
St. Patrick's Day, you have to pay major bucks. But if you wait a couple weeks, they're still interested in performing, but they're cheaper.
Okay. Hey, I'm in.
That's it. Ronnie, thanks for wanting to give back to the community, and I think the airport authority will fit right with your beliefs and what the county needs to do. So,
Thank you.
thank you.
Well, Ronnie, thanks for coming in and applying. That board has changed in the last few years, and not just not that it's just young people. It's people that have energy and the vision to make changes, and that's really what we're looking for out there, is that type of energy. It takes sometimes it takes a lot. There's several boards, committees out there as well, and we do have an opening on that board. So I appreciate you coming in and interviewing for the spot, and we'll bring it up at our next council and see where it goes.
Thank you so much, Dan.
Thank you.
Good
Thank
to
you.
see you.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
You too.
All right, let's see, what do we have? We have items from the public. No items from the public. Mr. Barnhart, I need to get back to work.
Mr. President, I move to recess.
We are recessed. Pretty good.